haven't made one of these in a while. I just got done streaming, and as you know, maybe you don't know, the idea behind these is to record my feelings after I've finished streaming. Now, first, let me just start off by saying that A Plague Tale: Innocence is not worth your money. Please just go watch a streamer play it, or a YouTube playthrough, or read the Wikipedia article, because the first 5 hours are fantastic, and then it takes a lot of bad turns. But it takes just enough right turns that I kept playing. I was like, maybe it's better, maybe it's better. And each day, progressively, I would get more and more frustrated, and I rage quit the game. I think every single time. But we'll get into that another day. This isn't a Plague Tale review. This is the stream summary. Halloween edition. So, Thomasina, lovely gal, lovely lady, gifted me her one and only Theta stream key. I was very excited. I was like, okay, new platform. And, you know, I messed with it a bit, and I kind of wasn't really streaming at all, to be honest. And for October, I was like, you know what? I really want to start streaming regularly. I want to have a regular stream schedule that does not interfere with most of the other streamers I watch. So I was like, well, I could do an early morning stream like I used to, but that would mean getting up in the morning and then trying to do all my chores really early in the morning, and then hopping on the stream, and then going to bed probably around like 9 o'clock, which a lot of my nighttime streamers either aren't even live yet or they're just starting. And so I was like, this doesn't give me a lot of time to watch the streamers I like. So I was like, okay, I can do what all the streamers do and start at like 6, 8 o'clock, something like that. And that's like been my most consistent stream schedule throughout the years. It's like starting around 5, between like 5 and 7. And I was like, then I'm missing a lot of those nighttime streamers, even if I only stream for a few hours. So I was like, you know what if I start streaming at like 11 o'clock, midnight, and then most of my nighttime streamers, I've had a couple hours, maybe 3 or 4, to watch them. And I stay up until, 5:30, 6:30, and then I can wake my mom up so that she can go to work, and she doesn't have to worry about missing her alarm. And then I can go to sleep, wake up around 2, 4 o'clock, do all my chores before too many people start streaming, and just like watch a couple daytime streamers on my phone while I, do my stuff. And then watch my nighttime streamers, and then do my streaming, and it goes on and goes on. And so I've been doing that the past few days. I think my first October stream was the 2nd, maybe it was the 3rd, I don't know. And I've been consistent with that. I've been, streaming at like roughly around midnight every night, and then streaming for, I think the first stream was like 2 hours, and then it went up to 4 or 5, I don't know. I've been going on from there, and I like this schedule, but here's the problem. Sorry, I have to answer this. I'm not editing this, by the way. I don't edit these, I'm never going to. But the problem is that aside from the game of Plague Tale: Innocence really stressing me out and pissing me off, is I've had people in my streams being terrible chatters. This ranges everywhere to simple rule breaking to death threats and racial slurs. Now, if you want the full details on that, I'm sure that, you know what? I don't even think I posted it anywhere. I don't think I'm going to post it anywhere. What's another thread about a black girl getting harassed on the internet and being sent death threats and stuff? And the important thing to note here, it's not just that they were death threats and racial slurs with this one person. It was because I refused to give them a free item on Theta and told them that they were rude, obnoxious, and destructive for begging streamers for free stuff. Now, before you decide you're going to be an enabler and say, well, maybe you should have been nicer about it. No. There is absolutely no reason why anyone should be sent death threats and be called slurs, racial slurs, over a plushie. This person made multiple accounts. I had to go through a less than acceptable report system. No word back on whether or not anything's happening with that person. And then night, I had somebody basically shit-talking creators and everything, and just overall kind of misunderstanding the point of communities and like content creation platforms, but that's another story for another day. And so they started to be racist. Now, they claimed that because they were of that particular race after the fact, that it wasn't racist. And I was like, that's one of the oldest tricks in the book. Claim that you have the right to say it because you're suddenly a part of that minority group. Sure. Definitely hasn't ever been done before. I totally believe you, sir. Now, this person also made multiple accounts. Now, they didn't come back with death threats and more racial slurs, but they did come back with very, very like high school tier jokes about women belonging in the kitchen. Made a bunch of accounts, reported them. Not going to get into the details of what's happening with them, but moderation did get back to me. Admin, did get back to me. And that's being addressed. We'll find out if it's handled, or maybe we won't find out if it's handled. Also, these are animal crackers. In case you were wondering. Now, while that was great, that it's being handled, I have issues with the fact that Theta doesn't have a report feature and that their ban functionality does not IP ban someone from your channel, so they can make as many accounts as they want and just keep coming back. And when I complained about the harassment in the Theta server, somebody said, well, can't you just block them? Can't you just ban them? The problem is not me being unable to ban them. It's that they're here to begin with. Yes, I 100% can ban somebody. But does that really solve the issue? And you could say, well, they're not in your chat anymore. They can't do anything to you. Well, first of all, the damage is already done. Second of all, as I've already described, they can just make another account. Thirdly, they're gonna continue acting like this in somebody else's channel. Now, I'm not one who thinks that people don't deserve second chances, or that sometimes people will say things out of turn and maybe they need a break, but they don't need to have everything stripped from them. I don't even believe in the death penalty, but again, situation for another day. And then I had someone later in chat use one of my new commands to look at my rules about blind playthroughs, and then later on, in a boss fight that I was very ragey and upset about, they claim that they told me the answer after the boss fight was finished. I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I saw it as I was finishing the boss, in like that cutscene, so I couldn't ascertain, like those big words, whether or not they had sent it in that instance or during the fight. But they had told me how to beat the boss. They're like, I don't want to spoil, but, and they said how to beat the boss. Now, first of all, if you're going to start off a sentence with, I don't want to spoil, but, you're probably about to spoil something. Second of all, you knew the rules. You used the command yourself, but you still broke the rules. They claimed it wasn't a spoiler because I was already in the boss. Now, I told them that, to be fair, that same command on Twitch chat does have an extra 2 lines saying that backseaters will immediately be banned, but that I did not include it in my Theta command because Theta has a smaller character limit. And so I figured, we'll take out the thing about banning people for backseating. Backseating is already considered a form of spoiling. And so I wasn't gonna ban them for it. And they were like, well, just ban me. And I went off on this person. And part of it is, I'm gonna admit, I was fired up from the game, but it came, my words came from the heart. I went off because this was a person who had multiple times come into my channel before and told me that Theta was such a nice community. And when they heard about the guy who was racist, and the guy who sent death threats, they were like, oh, trolls suck. And it's like, no, these aren't trolls. These are regular people, probably grown-ass people, who decide to turn malicious when they don't get their way. And that is not a troll. A troll is someone who is actively and purposefully going around to, you know, different channels or where have you, to upset people or make a mockery of them or something. These were people who were just normal chatters until they didn't get what they wanted, and that is when they decided to be bad people, bad chatters. But they're not trolls, and writing them off as trolls or kids who shouldn't be on the internet past like 10 o'clock is part of the problem. We need to start acknowledging that these are usually grown-ass people, and that they're not just doing it for kicks, that maybe they're just bad people and it's not just a prank bro, and that they need to be handled. They were like, oh, Theta's such a great community, that rarely happens. And I was like, it does not rarely happen. Theta is a smaller platform, and therefore less people are going to experience harassment than on a larger platform like Twitch. But no, it's not rare here. Okay? Especially with someone like me, ugly little Miss Triple Minority, it's gonna happen a lot. And I get that. It happens to me on Twitch. I'm not saying that I never experience harassment on Twitch. If I had to count how many times I've been harassed on Twitch since I got a Theta key versus how much I've been harassed on Theta, it's probably more leaning on Twitch, but probably pretty equal. I mean, it all just depends on whether or not I'm dual streaming and how long I'm streaming on Theta versus Twitch. I mean, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, but I went off on this guy. I was like, you don't have to be petty. You don't have to be petty. You can just recognize that you fucked up. You don't even have to apologize. But you could just recognize that you fucked up and let that be that. Instead of being like, well done, ban me. I'm not going to ban you, because that would probably fuel your ego. The way I try and moderate my own chat is time out, ban. Unless you're like actively sending me death threats or using racial slurs, in which case I'm just going to outright ban you. But I like to think that some people either didn't realize they said something wrong, or they did something weird, or they just need some time to cool off. And if after those first two timeouts they're still feeling frisky, that's when you take out the ban. Now luckily on Twitch, bans IP ban people now, and they are releasing some kind of way that you can like appeal bans or like ask people to unban you, which I think that's fitting. That way you don't have to like ask your friends to ask other people to unban you and like figure out where the drama is. I think that's nice because sometimes there are misunderstandings, and I get that. I can see it being potentially abused to like further harass people, but I think that it's a nice thing that they're going to be doing if it's done right. Now on Theta there is no IP banning for bans, and I don't have any strong feelings about it one way or the other. The strong feelings I have is that reporting people is not good or easy or a decent way to get things done, because it's all done through Discord. In fact, one of the guys who harassed me made a Discord and went into the Discord to dispute my claims, and it was really awkward and made me uncomfortable for obvious reasons. And I honestly think that's the only reason why that situation got addressed, because the other person that I reported, I've gotten no messages about, no feedback on, and so I honestly think that guy trying to defend himself in the chat is the only reason why they stepped in. But I don't know, and I just don't really care. But let's talk a little bit about the positives. I really like streaming at night. I've been doing these blacklight streams because we're playing horror games, and I've got this like neon makeup on. The neon UV glow from the lip gloss is worn off, but it is what it is. I really like this nighttime schedule. I like playing these kind of like spookier games. I mean, I've only played the one, but I have others lined up. And we got raided tonight, specifically by Faux Retro. Great streamer. Check out his YouTube. I'll link his YouTube or something somewhere at some point in the video. I don't know. I'm still new to YouTube's ever-changing video uploader thing. Sorry, like, it's just like really itchy. This is the content you pay for. Where you're like, I don't pay for this. Somebody's paying for it. What do you think pays your internet bill? But you got that data anyway. The raid was really nice. It came in at like the perfect time. I got really emotional because I was already high strung over the harassment I had just faced And unfortunately, the game did piss me off, and that chatter did decide to be petty. And the game got to the point where I just didn't want to play it anymore. But it's stuff like the raids that makes me happy, that makes me want to keep streaming because, you know, community aspects, we love those. But not everything is quite enough. Sorry, what is that? Here, I gotta keep my cats off my desk, but it's very easy to just tell people just focus on the positive. But I feel like in this case, because a lot of people think I'm a negative Nancy, which, you know, think what you want, do what you please. But to have so much harassment and bad chatters from Theta in such a short time frame, like this has been like 3 days of streaming, 4 days of streaming, really puts a damper on all of the good. Well, I don't really have much else to say other than I am taking a small break from streaming, probably just a couple of days. Just because I just don't want to look at Theta chat. I just don't want to. It's been so bad the past few days that it's like, why do we even bother? And that game did not help at all, but the game is not the problem. Because I've streamed Vesperia for 120 hours. Either with like 20 chatters or 0. And whether I was raging at the game or not, I was still having a good time streaming. But I can't handle playing a game that's frustrating me while also having a chat that's full of people who either don't follow the rules or who think that harassment is the best response to not getting what they want. And if I ever hear one person say that, oh, the Theta community is so great, anytime I bring up any of these problems, I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna scream. Easy to say the community's so great when you are not the one being harassed. I told myself I'd stop making these videos like half an hour long, so I'm gonna end it here, but yeah. Theta ain't doing it for me.